Welcome everyone to 5 Ways to Maximize Your Profits. Money is slipping through your fingers and you know it. I'm very pleased that you're here today to do something about it. I'm Anthony, the editor of Electrical Business Magazine, and I'm very pleased to introduce today's speaker, Andrew Houston, who is our Level Up columnist, whose tradie tips videos you can find at ebmag.com, and who is the owner and founder of Profit for Contractors. Andrew has been consulting to trades business owners for nearly a decade, helping them improve their business skills so they can achieve their personal and business goals. He is an industrial controls licensed electrician as well as an electronics engineering technologist. Now, throughout the presentation, Andrew will invite your feedback, so feel free to do so using the questions box, not the chat box, but the questions box in your webinar interface. Also on hand behind the scenes is Stacy, who will look after your technical questions. Again, you can use the question box for that. Afterward, there will be some time for Q&A before we wrap things up, and we will also send out a survey to get your thoughts on the presentation. And with that, I'll hand it over to Andrew Houston. Andrew.
Hey, Anthony. Thank you for the excellent introduction. That was great. So welcome everybody on today's online workshop. First things first, let's just make sure that you guys are able to hear me okay and see the slide saying 5 ways to maximize your profits. So if you could just type into the question box, just like Anthony said, just put in a yes, a yepper, and just make sure that you guys can hear and see what we've got here. So we got Connie, yes, Lonnie, yes, Martin, yes, Andrew, all right, we are good to go, and I get lots of yeses. Lots of people on the call today, so that's awesome. So before we get into this call, just curious, where are you guys dialing in from? Which part in the world are you guys dialing in from? I'm always curious to find out the answer to that question. Edmonton, great, Lonnie. Connie, Truro, Nova Scotia, wow, great. McBride, BC, Vancouver, BC, St. Catharines, Aaron, Kingston, Rick, UK, Whitney, Ontario, Aaron, Eastern Ontario. Wow, what a great range. We got lots of other people as well responding, but let's get moving forward here. So just I wanted to congratulate you guys before we get into the content, and I wanted to congratulate you because just the mere fact that you guys are attending today takes you above and beyond a lot of other contracting business owners out there for the mere fact that you guys are taking action. Okay, a lot of people talk a good game about how they want to succeed, how they want their business to be better, how they want it to, be a vehicle that provides them lots of profits and ideally freedom. But a lot of people don't take the action to do anything about it. So good on you guys for showing up today. So let's just touch a little bit about today. I'm going to give you guys everything I've got, insights on how to improve your business, based upon proven tools and principles that are used with hundreds of other contractors out there, pretty much the top 5% of contractors out there. So I'm going to give you everything I've got today, and I want you guys to walk out different than how you came in, with the ability to increase your profits, okay, and maximize the control of your business and your team. I want you to leave pumped. I want you to leave going, holy cow, I can apply these things, and I'm going to actually take this stuff, apply it, and change my business. So with that being said, a little bit about my style, which is basically, we're going to be moving fast. Okay, so we're going to be moving fast for a lot of reasons, because we have a lot of content and a lot of great techniques and principles to cover off. So make sure you take the best of notes. Don't ask me to slow down because, like I said, we've got a lot to cover off. So get rid of any distractions and pay really close attention, as it's going to be a long time before I cover off this topic again. I'm going to show you guys how to get some of these tools and templates at the end of the call for those of you that stick around. And I'm going to show you guys a way to get more help if you want it through the compliments of EB Mag. So before I go any further past this slide, I wanted to thank Electrical Business Magazine and Anthony and the team for letting us present this to you. Whatever you get out of us today, you want to make sure that you thank them, because if it wasn't for EB Mag, you guys wouldn't be on this workshop with me. Okay, so I always believe you need to thank those that help you out. So just like Anthony explained, Profit for Contractors was developed specifically to help contractors like yourself. I'm a fellow tradie, own my own industrial controls automation company, sold it successfully. So I've got a good handle on what it's like to be a contractor. But I've got a bit of a soft spot for electrical contractors because I'm a Sparky as well. So I can relate to you guys. But anyways, the reason for Profit for Contractors is that it was created because I was sick and tired of seeing contractors doing so much of the heavy lifting in their business. Really working way too hard, not making enough money, not helping enough people, and really having a business model that was unscalable. So today we're going to focus on profits and cash flow, which is this guy here right in the middle. But there's three core pillars that you want to make sure that you get control of. The first one is your time and team, making sure that you are optimizing where you're putting your time, making sure that you're putting your time on the things that are worth the value of your time as a business owner, making sure that your team is working like a well-oiled machine so that we're getting out of the team what we need to get out of them so that we can get the profits and cash flow. And again, we're going to go into specific strategies under profits and cash flow. And then there's the marketing and sales pillar. So you want to get these three pillars nailed, but today we're just going to be focusing heavily in on the profits and cash flow pillar. So let's get into this. So the problem with a lack of profits is this. Years of sacrifice, give us dismal results, okay? A lot of contractors get into business and they never make the money or get the quality of life that they deserve during or after they get out of the business. A lot of contractors just end up working, so hard for so little. And the problem isn't your craftsmanship. It's not being, like me, an industrial controls licensed electrician. Yeah, I ran an automation company. Yes, I sold it successfully, but I'll be the first person to tell you that I was really good at knowing how to build an automation line. And I was a crappy business owner, okay? And it wasn't because I didn't have the smarts, it was because I didn't have the tools, the insights, and nobody taught me how to do that. I know at least when I went to, college in Toronto, George Brown College, they never taught me that, okay? They taught me how to be a good electrician. So one of the biggest problems with profits is a lack of awareness, a lack of business tools, and it creates problems for your crews. It gives a roller coaster ride with the amount of work that you have, and also a roller coaster ride with your cash flow and your profits. The other problem with a lack of profits is we don't know where the holes in profits are, okay? You'll see from today that the very first place that we have to plug as far as the leaks in profit is with the work that you have right now, okay? Yes, we got to make sure that the jobs that we quote are profitable, the upcoming work that we're trying to get is profitable, but right now we've got to make sure that the work we've got is profitable, and that's going to be one of the first places we look at. And the last problem is sometimes with the lack of profits and running our business is that it gets so bad that you sometimes ask yourself, or others will tell you, that maybe you should downsize or pack it in all together, okay? It's sad, but sometimes contractors in the trades, electrical contractors, the business owner is the least paid person in the company. If you calculate how much they pay themselves and how much actual time they put into the business, if you add up to that all the time that they're thinking about the business at nighttime, when they're standing in front of their spouse or their kids and they're physically there but mentally not there, they can be the least paid person in the company, okay? So here's the alternative. When you get this right, okay, when you get your profits right, you're able to hand over the keys to your business wealthy, and at the same token enjoy the journey, right? Not waiting for 10, 20, 30 years to actually make the money you deserve, but making the money as you go through those years, okay? You've got systems in place, you got structure, so that the systems and the structure do the heavy lifting for you, okay? So the business runs more and more profitably. When you get this right, you're able to plan for profits and cash flow versus just hoping for them. And we stop working so hard for so little, right? And start working actually less for more, in the sense of actually doing less work in some cases, doing the right type of work, getting our profits under control can actually mean that we can actually get less by doing, get more by doing less, okay? And at the end of the day, the end game plan is that while we're building this business and putting systems in place and growing our business, the value of the business is being multiplied, okay? So that, you know, when we put these systems in place, you're able to not just hang up the tools and walk away from the business not getting anything out of it. You're able to actually make a lot of money selling your business because the business is not dependent upon you. The business is ran by systems. Okay, so again, I'm going to ask for a lot of interaction from you guys. We're going to get into some of this interaction in just a second. But the first thing that we got to do, the first place we got to get awareness of when it comes to your profits is the effects of lowering and increasing your profits, okay? And how little changes can have massive impacts that you guys aren't even seeing right now, okay? So the first area is to stop the illusions around profits. So let's get going into this. Love this guy, okay? Pretty smart cat. You know, he says it best. No problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. So I want you guys by, you know, in the next 10 minutes or less to get a different set of lenses so that your consciousness of how you look at increasing and decreasing your margins is going to be very different than how you came in here with, okay? So the first place is, when it comes to your margins, is, you know, how decreasing your margins could put you out of business, okay? And how small little decreases can do that. Look, before I show you guys the insights of that, I get it, okay? I can relate to you guys from the perspective of sometimes, you know, there's a lot of pressure on us to keep the money flowing, keep the team members. You know, it's not the easiest thing to keep, you know, and find good employees. And I understand you got to pay bills, so sometimes we get pressured to lower our margins, and that's just the way that it is. But you got to truly understand what the impact of that is going to be, so that when you are making those decisions, that you've got the right information to know the impact of lowering your margins for the long haul, versus just looking at it in such a short-sighted perspective. So let's take the typical electrical contractor, okay, and experience the effects of how such a small reduction in reducing our price can have a multitude of negative effects in your business. So let's use an example here. Again, part of making great decisions here, team, is understanding the impacts of our actions before we take them. So here's the reality. You know, we take this electrical contracting business, and say, for example, that their average gross profit margin is 30 points, okay? They decide that, you know, they're going to reduce their margins to go and win some more jobs, so they reduce it by, you know, 10%. This is going to open up your eyes right now. They would have to sell 50% more work than they currently have in order to make the same amount of profits that they were when they were doing work at 30% margin. Let me say that again. If they reduce their margins by 10%, that means instead of pricing the jobs at 30% margin, gross profit, and they decide to price at 20%, and now their average margin goes to 20%, they would have to sell 50% more. Get 50% more work just to get the same amount of profits at 30%. But Andrew, you might ask, how is that possible? Well, let's try an example. Let's try an example here. All right. Can everybody see my little iPad? Everybody see that? Just type into the chat box if you can see it. Yep. Andrew, yeah, Aaron, Lonnie. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so that's good, guys. A little bit of a smiley face. Okay. All right, let's get into the example. We have $1 million electrical contracting business. That's our total sales. Version A of that business is with a gross profit of 30%. So, team, let's see how good we are with math. What would be the profits this company would make at 30 points? What would it be? Just type it into the chat box. Yeah, exactly. 300K. Beautiful. Now we have version B of that business. They go and they drop their profits by 10%. To 20% average. Heavy duty math here. 200K. The difference between the two is a negative $100,000 in profits. Okay? So now we've got this business that now is only making 200K. The delta between, the business at 30 points, gross profit and 20 is 100K. Business version B would have to sell $500,000 at 20 points to make up for the 100K loss. And that is just to make the same amount of profits. That is a 50% increase in sales. Okay? Did everybody follow that? Just type that into the chat box. Did everybody follow that? Just put a yep or a no. We good? Awesome. Okay? So when we're looking at our margins, okay, it's not just pricing that's going to affect them. You guys know that. There's hundreds of things, but there's a couple of core things that are going to affect your profits, which we're going to get into. I'm going to show you ways how to address that. But when we're looking at this, the problem with lowering your margins or having lower margins is this. Let's go back to our little iPad here. What's the effects of that? Well, let's just pretend, again, I don't know exactly where everybody is on this call with their business or revenue, but the principles apply to everybody. Let's just use that example as our baseline, okay? What's going to happen? Well, I'll tell you what's going to happen. We are going to have to do a heck of a lot more sales, 50% more sales. What's 50% more sales? Well, I can guarantee you that you guys don't have a 100% conversion rate on when you quote a job or estimate a job to winning it. So that's going to mean a heck of a lot more quotes that you have to do. Okay? It's going to mean if you're lucky enough to get those sales, okay, it's going to mean what? You're going to need more crews, and we know how great that is. We know how well the government has done a great job with that, with the ratios, with promoting, how, the positives of becoming a tradie. Look, let's face it, that is very difficult to try and find more crews, especially to support 50% more work. What else comes out of it? Well, when we got cracks in the foundation of our business, say you got issue with callbacks right now, or you get a few, it's going to be multiplied. It's going to be amplified. And what happens to the types of clients when we're constantly pricing lower and lower? We typically get what I call Class D clients. Anthony gave me a good acronym for the D. I said, dead, but he calls them deadbeats. I love that, okay? Yeah, we get Class D clients that only deal with us because of pricing. And what happens to our risk? Our risk of the business goes through the roof. Now, how does this affect profits? Every single one of these is going to have a negative effect on our profits. Our profits are going to tank. And what else follows that? Well, I'll tell you what else follows that. Because we understand, the trades, I can say this with confidence that, I know you guys got to pay for material before you actually get paid for it. I know you got to pay your guys before you get, paid by your customers. So what happens to our cash flow? It takes a massive dive, okay? Big time dive, okay? So now, just the mere fact of you trying to have to land that much more work, it's not, lowering your margins by 10%, 5% is going to have this kind of impact. So we got to do whatever we can to fight for our profits, okay, to prevent this from happening. Because how many, contractors, of the hundreds of contractors we deal with, whereby they tell me, I don't understand, Andrew, we're getting more work, but we got no cash. I don't understand. We're working so much harder, and we've got so much less in the bank account. We're not making the profits that we thought we would make, and we just don't understand why. Well, I just explained to you right now one of the core crux of lowering your margins. So now we talked about lowering our margins, the problems with lowering our margins. We got to look at the effects of increasing your margins, okay? Now, I'm not going to get into all the math of it. We can talk about that later, but it's the same formula, okay? So when we look at our current margin in that example of electrical contractor at 30 points, and they go and increase their margins by 10%, here's the goal. They could lose 25%, 25% of their sales and still make the same profits. So that $1 million electrical contractor could lose, if they went and increased their margins by 10%, they could lose $250,000 in sales, $250,000 in work, in less quoting, in less managing, in less risk, in less material, in less having to put out their cash flow, and still make the same amount of profits. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how we can leverage this, later on in the presentation. But this is really important for you guys to get. So many contractors don't understand the big picture impact that it has if they don't optimize and maximize their profits. So remember I said in the beginning that it's possible to focus in on less work and actually get more? Well, hopefully, at this point you've understood that that's actually possible, okay? So let me ask you this question, and this is where I'm looking for your participation. How does this change? Now that we've gone through this exercise, put it into the question box. How does this change the way that you look at decreasing and increasing your margins? Remember, when you guys participate on these calls, so start putting those answers in, everybody, into the question box. That'd be great. I'll give you guys 10 or 15 seconds to fill that in. The more you participate, the more this stuff is going to stick. It's just the way that the cards are dealt, right? So I'd like everybody on the call, to make sure that you guys participate, with this question. So type into the chat box, how does that make you see, the effects of decrease and increase in your margins? I'd like everybody on the call to type that in. Paul, significantly. Yeah, absolutely, Paul. Okay, how about, Martin saying it makes a lot of sense. Beautiful. Aaron, makes me want to comb over my finances to see exactly where I fall. The past 2 years, I have gone down in my gross sales and made more. Amazing, right? Eye-opener, Andrew says. Okay, thanks everybody for participating. Okay, make sure you guys type in your responses. I can't cover them all off. I'll do one more. Ryan says, it makes increasing margins seem far more important than retaining problematic customers. Oh, we're going to talk about problematic customers in just a second, Ryan. Excellent participation, guys. Okay, so now what do we do about it? Okay, and how do we address this? So when we're looking at improving these areas and improving our profits, we've got to look at what we've created here at Profit for Contractors called the profit funnel. Okay, I go through this with each of my clients, and it's important for you guys to understand that this profit funnel actually goes in this order. Okay, there's a reason for it. I'll explain as I go through them. At the profit funnel, at the top of it, it first of all is identifying, are you profitable? In other words, are you profitable with the work that you've got right now? If you can't answer this, you won't be able to answer any of these other layers, okay? The next is the efficiency of the team, which feeds the type of work, which feeds the class of clients, which feeds our cash flow. A couple of golden principles in cash flow is this. If you're profitable with the type of work that you do, you have a good chance of having a positive cash flow. Doesn't guarantee it, okay, because you can have profitable jobs and have clients that don't pay you, okay? But the guarantee of lack of cash flow is that if you do not become profitable in the work you do, I guarantee you will have cash flow issues, okay? So you want to make sure that each one of these levels we maximize profits. And these aren't the only ones. There's about 40 other strategies and areas, but these are the core ones you want to get right first. Okay, next is let's focus on the first layer. So the first layer that we're going to get into is are you profitable? So please type into the chat box right now, how many jobs do you have on the go right now? Let's just take 10, 15 seconds, just put in the digit. I don't care if they're medium, small, I don't care what type they are, I don't care if they're large. So Aaron, Barrett says 4, Lonnie says 20-ish, Paul says 20. Okay, great, awesome. Okay, Andrew says 3, Ryan 80 to 100. Whoa, wow, that's a lot. Okay, great. Here's the thing, guys. No matter what you responded with, okay, no matter what number you typed in, the reality is right now, while you're on this workshop, you're either making profits on them or you're not, okay? And once the profits are gone, they are gone forever from those jobs. Here's an example, okay? Very quickly. Here's one of my electrical contracting clients who paid dearly for not knowing if they were profitable or not on their jobs. This was an 8-month job, okay? 5 guys, 40 hours a week put on this. And let's take a look. They estimated 3,717. Let me see if I can use a little pen here. So here we are, 3,717. The actual was 6,305. The delta, 2,588 extra hours. That was just on the labor. Okay. The material quoted 149. Actual 199. Difference $50,000. Okay. Now this is a company that's got about 30 electricians in it. Okay. And this was a job, keep in mind that after 8 months, they found that only after the fact that they were losing this kind of money. The total team was over $200,000 in lost profits. $200,000 in lost profits, okay? For a company whose net profit was only 10%, you're talking that these guys, to get back that break even of $200,000, they would have to land a $2 million worth of more work just to cover off those costs. So you want to make sure you pay attention here and that we are clear as we go through this exercise that in this area that you guys are progressing the profit. So here's how we do that. We do that by making sure, whoops, clicking too many buttons there. We do that by making sure that you see what you need to see, and your team sees what they need to see, okay? And by the way, that company's been around for over 30 years, and they've done a great job in a lot of different aspects of their business, but that was definitely an area of significant weakness that we needed to focus in on. So I'll show you how to do that in just a second. So you need to see progress to profits on every single job that you guys do. Love this quote by Warren Buffett. Never lose money, rule number 1. Rule number 2, never forget rule number 1. So how do we go about doing that? Well, let's see. I'm going to go into our membership site for our clients, and I'm going to see if I can pull up for you guys how we go about doing that. So these are the 3 pillars. These are all some of the tools that we show to our clients. Let's see if we can go to the Progress to Profit dashboard. So this is a tool that I want you guys to look at and seriously consider putting in place. Okay? So what the heck is this Progress to Profit dashboard? Well, let me quickly go through it. First of all, this is all these, just highlights a little bit more about what it's about. Let's just jump right into it. The very first problem, let me have a sip of my coffee here. The very first problem, and one of the biggest problems that contractors have, especially electrical contractors, I'll tell you, because typically electrical contractors are dealing with a lot of more steps and granularity to the types of work that they do. Okay, no offense to any drywallers on the call, but let's face it, if you're an electrical contractor, there's a lot of steps involved in wiring a building, okay, versus just putting up drywall. I'm not saying drywall is not difficult to do, but you get the idea. So the very first thing we've got to do is step 1. You got to get the information that's in your head as an owner out of your head. Okay, I love this picture, Spock doing the Vulcan mind melt, right? We got to get the stuff out of your head and make it visible to your team so that your team can help you, right? And Jerry Maguire says it quite well, right? Help me to help you, okay? If your team can't see it, how in God's name are they going to be able to help you? So that's the first 2 steps. Well, actually, that's the first step. Step number 2, eliminate the excuses. We need to make our Progress to Profit dashboard, which, by the way, team, little hint, is actually a whiteboard on how we can make it so simple that a 10-year-old could actually read it, understand it, and be able to, explain it back to you. We've got to then put the rules of the game in play so that it becomes a living, breathing entity. It gets fed every day. So step number 4 is we want to make it so that it's habitual, so that there's some sort of routine to when it gets updated and how it gets updated. And to do this, we want to do it, review it, and improve it. I believe that we're not here for perfection. We're here to rough it. Here's an electrical contractor that took this template that I'm going to show you in a second, created, they roughed it, got the board up, got some pinstriping or some electrical tape and taped it out, and then eventually they improved it, okay? So now they got this whiteboard. It looks a lot sexier. It looks a lot better. It's more effective, more efficient, but guess what? They started it, okay? They put it up there. They stopped using excuses, okay? Step number 5, load it and launch it, okay? We're talking about something that's going to be, cost you less than a couple of cases of beer and take you literally an hour to 2 to put into play, okay? So now I noticed that there were some people on this call that had like 20, 30, 100 jobs. We'd have to adjust this board, but you're getting the principle here. So this is the Progress to Profit dashboard. Let me see if I can zoom in a bit. There we go. The MacBook Pro is working good today. So the first thing you want to do in this Progress to Profit dashboard is simple, simple, simple. Name of the job, job number, start date, phase, invoice date. We're going to talk about how this board is going to feed getting better control over cash flow later on in today's workshop. What are the specific actions that need to be done? But here's the goal. When you lay out these jobs, okay, you're going to want to lay them out by phases so that you know where the job is at. Let's just use an example for an electrical contractor here. You got a guy wiring a house, right? There's putting in the service, there's doing the roughing, there's doing the finishing, right? There's final inspection. Those would be 3 to 4 phases. We put those phases up here, okay? And what we do is that as the job is progressing, we use a simple little technique of color coding, okay? So that if the job is off track, we're going to, put that phase color in red, or write the job name in red. If it's on track, it's yellow. If it's ahead of schedule, then we put it in green. That way, at a glance, you know every day which jobs are on track, off track, or ahead of schedule. Why? So that you as the business owner can focus your time and effort in getting those jobs back on track, okay, back on schedule. Look it, guys, we don't play baseball and wait to the final inning to actually see what the score is, do we? No, we don't play the game of hockey or any sport and wait till the third period to go, hey, what's the score? No, you don't. Why? Because in order for you to maximize your progress to winning the game, you've got to look at the scoreboard on a regular basis so that you can make the adjustments. Either keep doing what you're doing to stay on track or ahead of schedule, or make the adjustments to go, hey, we're losing. We need to come up with a different game plan, okay? The other advantage of this board is that there's no excuses around, oh, the power went out, or I didn't know it. You put this board in a place whereby you can't run away from it. Your team can't run away from it. And so that it increases exponentially the accountability of the team. It makes it super simple to use, and it doesn't mean that we might not have other systems and tools and spreadsheets that go hand in hand with this, but by God, you've got to see where you're at with the jobs you've got so that you can make the proper adjustments as you go. So, come back to our presentation here. So that we never lose money, and that we never forget rule number 1, okay? So, that's, are you profitable on jobs? Let's talk about, whoops, got a quick hand. Let's talk about the next layer, okay? Efficiency of the team, right? Our team is one of the biggest factors, guys, when it comes to you either making or losing profits. Let's face it, okay? Whenever you quote jobs, and a lot of people don't understand the trades, and the trades is very unique in my opinion. They don't understand of the impact that the team has on our business. I mean, when we quote a job, one of the biggest factors is how many hours it's going to take to do the job. Well, the people that are going to put in those hours is your team. So we got to make sure we maximize the efficiency of your team, and we leverage your insights from which jobs are profitable, which ones are not, which ones are ahead of schedule, to know which team members we need to focus in on to improve and maximize their efficiency. So here's the problem with a lack of profits if you don't get this right with your team. Your team is lost before you even start, okay? Jobs are in chaos. You'll know you've got some of this if you're getting lots of callbacks, and let's face it, if your team is not crystal clear on how to do the jobs you give them, then they are not crystal clear on how to make your profits. And then, let's look at this, right? Bad apples make more bad apples, right? If we don't make sure that we address the bad apples, who are part of your crew, then they're gonna teach other people, how to do things the way that we don't want them to be done. Fact number 1: no matter the size of the company, big or small on this call today. Poor performing employees create more poor performing employees. Fact number 2, no crew is the same. I guarantee you that. We need to tangibly measure the performance of each team member so that we set the bar for what we expect. Otherwise, everybody is working at their own pace, playing by their own rules, okay? And it might not be at the pace that makes us profits. Now, you're going to know if you got a problem with team efficiency when you ask, sorry I had to use this guy here. I think everybody knows who this is. When you go to your team, you go, how much more do you have left to do? And the answer is, I don't know. Or what's the plans for next week? And they say, I don't know. Or better yet, I'm going to go see a Sens game, okay? The worst, guys, is if we are, behind on a job that we estimated and the reply is, I don't know. So we need to address this. And sometimes what will happen, I think one of the other biggest things that happens here is that there's a significant lack of communication between the office and the and on-site. You'll know this if paperwork is piling up. You'll know this if your crews are not filling in the proper paperwork, on-site or even in the office. And in the end, you'll know this if you end up babysitting and having to wear way too many hats to compensate for the lack of efficiency and communication with your team. So the alternative, if we get this right, is systems run the business and the people run the systems. Okay, you know that you're heading in the right direction when your team becomes superheroes, right? Where they actually know how to help each other, and like Batman and Robin, they're playing to their strengths. The alternative, if you get this right, is the job gets done right the first time. So let's put this theory into reality, okay? I'm going to be covering off a lot of different templates here. We don't have time to go through them all, but you want to definitely make some notes on the ones that you want to start with and start tweaking. And again, like I said, I'll show you guys how to get your hands on some of these before the call is up. Stick around. So here's the facts. Profits will be won or lost, before we start jobs, will be won or lost while we're running jobs, and will be won and lost when the job is finished. Okay? All 3 of these phases we need to nail backed by systems. Okay? Your team can gamble your profits away at each one of these phases, team, if we don't have the right systems in place for them to follow to ensure profits are made. Okay? So let's take a look at some of these checklists. When we start a job, I'll highlight just a couple of these things on this checklist. This is what my my clients use in some form or fashion. We tend to automate this, but we start off with a hard copy. So before the job even starts, you got to make sure that the estimator and the person that's going to be doing the project manager or foreman, have absolute clarity on how the job was estimated. You want to make sure before the guys even put their feet on the ground, who's going to be responsible for what? Who's going to be in charge of procurement and ordering material? Okay. You want to make sure before you start the job that you've got, if it's a big enough project, anything that's over a week to a week and a half, you definitely want to do this. You can do it for smaller projects as well, but definitely the bigger jobs like that one electrical contractor client, the 8-month job, you want to break it down into phases, okay, so that at this phase it should take this long to put in the service. At this long it should take, to put in the lighting or retrofit the lighting, okay? So you want to break it out into phases. It's not just a matter of winning the game, of going to a job and getting it done properly. It's about, how do you manage it and what's the expectations before you even start the project. The other thing you want to do before you start the job, you got to have a procurement schedule. One of my clients, and the intentions were right. Project manager was away. Foreman was on the job site. The person doing the procurement was gone. And they didn't, they needed some tech cable. They had $25,000 worth of tech cable. So they couldn't find it anywhere on the site. So the guy picked up the phone, called, his local electrical supplier, and ordered another roll of $25,000 worth of tech cable. Okay, non-returnable. Project manager comes back, procurement person comes back and goes, "What the hell did you do that for?" The guy goes, "What do you mean? I didn't think you guys ordered it." "Oh yeah, it's here at the back of the shop." So team, you want to make sure that you got the procurement schedule set up well before the job gets started. Let's talk about running the job. You want to make sure that you're progressing the profit, okay? Either through the board I just described to you, or by identifying how we're doing as far as what was estimated, what was actually set as far as hours and material, and where are we at from a percentage of completion perspective. Okay. Another thing you want to make sure you guys set up properly is a job site checklist. Seriously, how many job sites have I walked on? And I say to the guys, so simple question. So how many ladders you guys got on this site? I don't know. I think it's 3. Go to another guy. I think it's 6. Okay. Everybody's running around with their heads cut off. Nobody knows where the tools are put. Nobody knows where the inventory area is. It's a gong show. Okay. That is like massive leaks in profits. If guys are running around looking for things when there could be a simple sign-out checklist, there's no need for that. Okay. So you want to have a job site checklist set up before the guys, when the guys are on the job site, so everybody knows where everything is at and things are ran efficiently. Let's talk about finishing the job. Okay, again, can't cover it all off today, but a couple of key points. You want to make sure that you have all the compliance checklists done. If there's certain inspections that need to be done, certain paperwork that needs to be done, change orders that need to be, invoiced and not missed. You want to make sure that that happens. Okay. You also want to make sure that you demand a certain level of quality, and this is a golden one. You want to get feedback from your customers, guys. They are the best source of getting you the information you need to judge and rate your team and how well you did, okay? Because it's one of the best outside perspectives for you, and it's also a great opportunity for you guys to maintain raving fan clients so that basically they come back to you over and over again. Okay, so it's one thing to talk about these things, but let's take a look at the impact. Here's a client of mine. They were doing 200 service calls a month. Put these systems in place, specific to service calls. They were losing 15 minutes, okay, on every single service call with guys running around, not putting in the paperwork, not communicating properly. 50 hours per month lost, okay? Over $4,000 a month, $51,000 a year, and over 10 years, $510,000 in 10 years. It was being lost. Okay, now they've been in business for 20 plus years, so you can imagine how much profits they lost here. We were able to turn that around, increase their customer service, systemize the business so that we stop callbacks, and actually increase their billable hours by 15% on every call that was done. Why? Because we put systems in place. Okay, so you want to make sure you nail that, guys, as far as the efficiency of the team. Next, on the profit funnel, we've identified, are we profitable? We've identified the efficiency of the team. Now we've got to focus in on the type of work. Okay, this is a client here. If you guys get this right, that was able to, I talk about working less and getting more. Yeah, this is actually the case. Okay, yes, they increased their sales, but they doubled their profits. This is a client that after we assessed the types of work that he did, we realized that the residential row housing that he was doing was in the single digits as far as profit. In a lot of cases, they were losing profits on jobs. We found out that doing commercial work, in his case, specific type of commercial work, was on average 3 to 4 times the profits of the residential type of work. But yet at the time, it was only 20% of his sales. Obviously, you can see what we did with that. Okay, we increased his sales to $5.3 million from 3.8, doubled his profits. He's completely off the tools, delegated quoting. Now he's focusing in on just the high value activities like getting more jobs that are profitable. So guys, you want to make sure that you break down the work and type of work that you do so that you know where the lowest hanging fruit of profits are, okay? Because if you don't, you're just not going to know where to focus. And then you end up looking at the too big of a picture that doesn't give you any information to make better decisions on. So before we go any further in today's session, tell me what's been most valuable out of those 3 different areas, as far as the insights from today. Just type in the chat box, or sorry, the question box, what's been most valuable right now. I'll give you guys 10 seconds. Has it been, the importance of the efficiency of the team? Has it been, the types of work? Has it been ensuring that you're more, you're ensuring you're profitable? Type it in the chat box. What's been most valuable so far out of those 3 different areas? Systems, yes, absolutely, Whitney. Andrew says the type of work, bang on. Importance of systems, Lonnie. Paul, systems. Yes, systems run the business and people run the systems, okay? You guys might want to write this down. Systemize the routine and humanize the exceptions. And about 70% plus of electrical contracting companies can be systemized. Barrett says systems, amount of profit, efficiency of the team, and my communication to them. If they are not crystal clear on what is to be done, then they are not crystal clear on making me profit. Love it. Good listening, Aaron. Last one for me to mention, progress of the job, Rick. Excellent. Okay, guys, let's keep cranking this away. I'm just going to throw this up just to let you know. I know, I love working with electrical contractors, but I want to show this to you guys. It doesn't matter the type of trade you're in. These results are possible, whether it's a mechanical contracting company, plumbing contracting company, electrical contracting company, insulation, whatever. Doesn't matter. These are principles, okay? And this is what happens when you master these things, okay? This is the reality, okay? So you guys got a choice. I love the interaction, by the way. You can do it the old way. We get what we get. Then, we don't see leaks in profits before it's too late. Stuck working too hard for too little, or we plan for profits, right? We see the holes as opportunities to improve. We leverage the data for the life of the business. So guys, I just want you to type in, are you going to do it the old way, or are you going to do it the new way? This is one of the first decisions I want you guys to make. Just type it in quickly. Give you guys 10 seconds, okay? Lonnie says the new way. Aaron says new dog with new tricks. I love it. Barrett says the new way. Andrew says new way for sure. Paul says new way. No brainer. That's it, Whitney. Okay, Martin says new way. Let's keep moving on. Okay, so guys, we talked about the first 4 areas in the profit funnel. Let's talk about the next one, which is classic clients. How many of you guys are dealing with clients that are your worst nightmare, okay? Hello, I am your worst nightmare, okay? Stuck on their forehead. Look, we have to make sure that we rate our clients. Otherwise, we're not going to know who we should deal with, who we shouldn't deal with, and who we should get rid of, okay? So in order to do that, let's come up with these definitions. There's 4 areas, 4 levels of clients. There's the A, who are awesome, the B that are basic, the C you can't deal with, and as Anthony would say, the D's that are deadbeats. So I'm going to bring up this example again. I want to show you guys, this is pretty interesting. You saw this before, right, when we're talking about loss of profits. This is an electrical contractor, the same one that I talked about before. After we studied this, get ready for this. The last 5 jobs that they did for this contractor were not profitable. Isn't that funny? And isn't it interesting? The last 3 jobs they did, they still haven't been paid for. Okay? So this was not just one thing that caused this problem as far as not tracking it as they went. It wasn't just, coding it wrong. It was also a big factor of dealing with a Class D client, okay, that they should have gotten rid of ages ago, and they've been working with for 10 years, and these guys have been milking them on profits. So what do? Well, here's what we do. I get my clients to break it down into these areas. You want to write these things down, okay, and it's not just one, but these are the areas to rate your clients. Are they profitable? How are they as far as their payments, okay, and their accounts receivable? What kind of work volume do they give you? The size of jobs. What kind of energy and maintenance are they to deal with, okay? How about the job location? Repetitive business. Do they keep giving you repeat work, or they just fly by night and only need you when they need you based upon price? Do they give you Class A referrals? Let me give you one little gold nugget. Class D clients give you Class D clients. Why? Thieves play with thieves, and the good play with the good, okay? So you definitely want to make sure you get A and B clients to deal with because the C's and D's will attract more of them. Lifetime value. In other words, what have they given you over the life of them working with you, okay? Those are some of the key factors in rating your clients, okay? So you need to do that with your clients. And you also need to know how to deal with them, okay? You want to systemize this part of it, okay? You want to put the list of the C's and the D's up on the wall so that everybody in your company knows that they are people you don't want to deal with. And you want to make sure that they also know who the A's and B's are to treat them like they're an A, okay? And like they're a B, okay? I do not believe that, and I'm not a prejudiced person at all, but everyone shouldn't be treated the same when it comes to your clients. The people that don't pay, the people that rip you off, they shouldn't get treated the same as your Class A clients that take care of you and give you work beyond just pricing. Okay, so we got to make sure we give the time to the A's and the B's and fire the C's and the D's, okay? One of my clients here, he got these results in less than 3 weeks, okay? Got rid of a bunch of C and D clients, filtered them fast, got more A's and B's, saved them 15 hours a week, and increased his profits by 18%, okay? It doesn't have to take long or be difficult with some of these things. So, question for you, what would it mean for your company if you didn't have to deal with C and D clients anymore? Just type that into the chat box, guys. Make it quick. It'd be great. I'll give you guys 10 seconds. And the last question, keep this for yourself, okay? Who's the first class D client that we're going to fire? Okay. Martin says, we don't have the luxury of turning down clients as we are competing in BC with contractors who are underbidding us $30,000 on $100,000 jobs. A lot of people streaming in here from Alberta. Okay, let me just say something on this, Martin. I got to say it because today, I'm acting as your coach, okay? If it means that you're going to lose profits, if it means that they're not going to pay you, you cannot afford to deal with these people, okay? I would rather have a client, have to reduce. I know it sucks, but I'd rather have them lay off a bunch of their guys and make sure that they're profitable in the jobs that they're getting than potentially put risk at the business completely going under, okay? And I'm sure maybe Martin, you and I can have a chat about that in more detail, but that's sort of my high-level perspective on it. Lonnie says less stress. I got rid of a couple of years ago. Awesome, Aaron. Time to make sure you revisit that. Paul says increased profits. Just one or two more, guys. Rick says paid on time equals cash flow. Absolutely. Weekends off. Awesome, Jay. Okay, so guys, old way or new way. Let the C and D clients run your business into the ground, lose profits and time, keep injecting poison to your team, or kick the C and D clients to the curb and giving you more attention to the A's and B's. Building clientele that appreciate you and your team. Beautiful, Paul, the new way. I love how you guys are picking up the speed on this. Everybody's saying the new way. I love it. Okay, beautiful. So Rick's saying more evaluation on the clients. Yeah, absolutely, Rick. So, you got to get rid of these guys. So now moving in, I know we're going at a good pace here, moving into the cash flow, okay? Each one of these things gives us more profit, gives us a better chance to have positive cash flow. Let's touch into this. I call it the cash collector or accounts receivable board. This has brought in hundreds of thousands of dollars for my clients because it increases the visibility of your accounts receivable, and it's fed by your progress to profit board. So let's see if I can pull that up. See if I can use some magic here. So I'll go back into here, go back to my home page, and just bring this up here. So let's take a look at the accounts receivable board. Okay, this is a little spreadsheet. You'll see that the, yeah, it's okay. Open that up. Beautiful. This here, guys, these are two whiteboards. Okay. Yes, that's exactly what they are. Two whiteboards. There's the progress to profit board, project management board that we already covered off today. Okay. So let's take a look at this. So when you're looking at your accounts receivable, a lot of people doing accounts receivable look at just this huge list and they just start making calls. Our job is to make sure that our team and us as business owners focus in on the highest value things. So let's focus in on that. The accounts receivable board works like this. Anything that gets invoiced gets put on this whiteboard, okay? And again, we've got to tweak it, adjust it, make it work for you guys, but I just want you to get the principle. We lay out all the months. A lot of my clients put out, 12 months worth. Anything that gets invoiced, in this case in July, goes underneath July. Anything for August, September, you get the point. Now here's the goal. You identify by legend the value of the accounts receivable invoice, okay? So in this case, for this example, this electrical contractor, 0 to 5K is black, 5K to 10K is red, 10K and up is green, okay? So when the accounts receivable person is making their calls, the very first place that they're going to focus in on is not all these, they're going to focus in on the greens, okay? They're going to know exactly which ones to focus in on based upon value, okay? It's not just based upon aged report, it's based upon value, okay? The next level they're going to look at is the reds, and the next level is going to be the black. And look, yes, it does take 15 minutes to go and update this thing. You take a snapshot of it at the end of the week, you then wipe it off, and then you update it so that every week we have a clean slate as far as what's been achieved and what hasn't. And as the week goes on, if you go and collect on this, you can just simply, cross this out. okay? You can simply go, with a marker and just cross that out, okay? So we know that we're making progress. And as the business owner knows where his focus should be as far as making calls. He shouldn't be calling in with the guys that are $500 here and there. He needs to be focusing his time and effort where it's needed. Now, this is backed by a whole accounts receivable system as far as scripts and letters and timing, but this is the very first thing that we want to get a control of, okay? So again, it takes you guys to put those two boards up, maybe a couple of hours. You're talking about bringing in lots of extra cash flow, lots of extra visibility, and the old way is not being clear on where the gold is. You're not focused. Everything is a priority. It's super difficult if you don't have these systems in place to delegate because, again, it's all in your head, right, or your team's head. We're focusing on lower value accounts receivable tasks or the new way, right? We see the highest AR accounts, and we focus in on that. Everyone is clear on where to start and finish, and we're able to delegate so that that you only work on what needs your attention for maximum results, okay? So you guys, again, same question, the old way or the new way? Which way we're going to do it when it comes to the accounts receivable? Type that in the chat box quickly. Be great. Love it, Paul, new way. Ryan, new way. Aaron, new way. Whitney, everybody's saying the new way. Man, the new way is the way, okay? So, look, team, let's just take a gander on this, all right? Imagine we are able to, and if anybody tells me we can't from just some of the strategies we touched on today, I'm going to find it hard to believe, but imagine increasing at the minimal. Okay, minimal. I know for certain that we can increase profits at least 2% on the jobs that you do right now, okay, to make them more profitable. I know we can increase the efficiency of your team by 2%, no question. Type of work, we can get better work, more work that's higher profits, at least by 2%. Class of clients, getting more of the types of clients that are going to pay you and pay you what you're worth, and increasing your cash flow by 2%. So let's just take a gander here. What would a 2% increase, compounded, right? Remember, small increases can have huge increases in profits and cash flow. What would a 2% increase in each one of these levels do for your business? I'd like to see some sort of number, okay, typed in. Again, this is all private, guys, but I'd like to see some sort of number. What would it be? 20 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand, we're talking about 2, 4, 6, 8, at least increase in profits, 8% increase in profits. Cash flow increasing between 2% and up. Yeah, so Lonnie's saying $74,000. Absolutely. Excellent. Okay, what else do we got there, guys? Just type in the chat box. What would this small increase in each of these areas do for your business? Yeah, we got 20,000, 35,000. Yeah, okay, good. Okay, then just keep that number, right? Aaron says 40,000. Rick, 80,000. Paul, 25K. Okay, it's huge, guys. Okay, small little increases, and I guarantee it's going to be more than 2%. So the keep to the time, and wrapping things up here. It's time to land this plane. Look, I'm sure you guys attended this webinar because you want to improve your profits and cash flow and improve your business bottom line. Okay, we covered off a lot in the last 50 plus minutes. And here's the thing, it's hard to take all this information and insights and tools and run with it yourself, because one of the biggest challenges is knowing where to start and having the tools to go and do it. So, EB Mag has on behalf of EB Mag, they have done a great job here bringing this to you guys, and actually are sponsoring a strategy session with me. It's normally valued at $400, and they're sponsoring that for free. The reality is that you guys need help in putting a plan together. The strategy session purpose is to make sure that you guys maximize your profits, your cash flow, and you get the most out of your time and your team. There's limited spots, and the reality of that is because I have limited time. Okay, I spend most of my time working with my clients. There's only 7 spots available, so this is how you get access to it, and maybe we can put that into the chat box. That would be great. Stacy, if you could do that, just put this link. So everybody, if you can just type in, did you receive the link? That would be great. I just want to make sure everybody's got access to it. I see some people already registering. That's cool. Okay, cool. So you just click on the link. You'll notice it says 15-minute chat. We have a quick 15-minute chat to see if or how I can help you, because I want to make sure nobody's time is being wasted. And then we book in for the strategy session, which is about 45 minutes to an hour, and we lay out a plan for you guys specific to your business. Again, this is on behalf of EB Mag. I apologize if you get in there and there's no spots available. It's just the spots that I have. For those that register, I'm going to give you guys a bonus because I believe people that take action should benefit. This is a mastering control template that gives you guys you're able to assess how to start your jobs, run your jobs, and finish your jobs. You're also going to be able to get this amazing tool called the Service Call Success System. So when I talked about that client that was able to optimize their service call department that was getting 200 service calls a month, this is the tool that they used. It saves them hundreds of thousands of dollars. And really, the strategy session is all about mastering your business. Okay, guys, giving you the tools and insights that you need. So that's basically it for me today. We're going to open up the question box. I'll throw you up that link in just a second again. If you got any questions around the strategy session or any aspect of your business or what we covered off today, just put that into the chat box, and I'll just open it up. So I don't know if anything you wanted to say there, Anthony, on today's call before we wrap things up.
Well, there's so much to say. As you mentioned earlier, there's a lot of ground that was covered in this presentation. A lot of stuff, a lot of very good stuff. Definitely to get everybody thinking about where those weak spots are in the company and where things need to be, where you need to shore them up. But you had that diagram earlier, I think around slide 25 or something like that, talking about your clients, talking about the type of work that you get. If a person had to start just somewhere, anywhere, is there any way that you're leaning in terms of what to tackle first, team efficiency, type of work, or the class of clients? I mean, where would you jump in first if you had to pick one?
Absolutely. So the very first thing, by the way, Aaron says drinking from a fire hose. I love the humor. So the very first place that you want to start is, first of all, being able to answer that question. Am I profitable with the work that I'm doing right now? Okay, so say you're doing a bunch of different types of work, and you're like, so where do I start? The reality is that if you don't have the data, if you don't have the numbers, Anthony, you have to use your best judgment, okay? So, tradies are very good typically with their spidey senses, and what they want to do is they want to go and say, hey, let's take a look at this project that we're running right now. We can't look at them all because we don't have enough time right now. We don't have the systems in place, but let's pick the one that's giving me a bit of a rash. Let's pick the one that feels like it's not on track, and get laser focused on that so that we can actually create a plan to get that back on track. Because one of the most difficult things, back to your question, is knowing where to start and picking the one thing that's going to give you the greatest impact in the shortest period of time. So that would be the very first place that I would start. Does that answer your question?
It does, and it's actually very well thought out too, because you can't make any good decisions without any data or at least those spidey senses you were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, if that's all that you have to work with, then we have to leverage those spidey senses. And now, some of those spidey senses might be off, but if that's what we have to work with, then the very first place is ensuring that the work that we have right now is maximizing profits, right? Are we at the bottom of the ninth inning and the bases are loaded? Are we, in the third period and we got to go into overtime? We need to know that. I mean, I'm using sports analogies, but we got to know that insight from the jobs that we've got right now, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and so I think for those that are interested, if there's still spots available, you guys want to leverage this opportunity to get some of these tools and insights, complimentary on behalf of EB Mag. And I got some other question here. It says, how much time does it take to make this effective? I guess in regards to the plan. Well, really, it takes about a minimum of an hour to 2 hours to to work on your business to start making some really good progress, okay? If you're not willing to put an hour to 2 hours in to work on your business with these tools and these strategies, no offense to anybody on the call, but then you're not ready to improve your business, okay? You've got to be willing to put in at a minimum that amount of time to start making progress. So hopefully that answers that question. So any other questions that you guys have, throw it out there. Would be great. I don't know if you see any other questions there, Anthony.
Well, I had a question come in terms of poor performing employees. You had mentioned poor performing employees create more poor performing employees. More bad, or one bad apple creates more bad apples. So someone was asking, now, if you have a long-term employee, I mean, someone who has been with you for years and years, but you're able to pinpoint that this is actually the bad apple that's creating additional bad apples. How do you deal with such an employee? Someone who's been your, albeit a broken left hand, but someone who's been your left hand for years?
Yeah, that's a great question. The reality is that we have to run our business. I think one of the first things that we have to be clear about is that we're in business to be in business. We're in business to make money. It doesn't mean that we want to have a negative culture and be mean to everybody, but business comes first, right? If somebody's not doing what they're supposed to be doing, then we have to address that. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that you have systems in place for your team to follow, whatever that area in the business is that you're trying to address. You want to pick the area. You want to look at what system do we need to focus in on. Say it was how to start a job or run the job or finish the job. We're having an issue with, too many callbacks, when the job gets wrapped up and things aren't done properly, and it tends to always be this guy. Well, if you don't have systems in place, it's really difficult to hold people accountable. So the very first thing you want to do is put a system in place and say, team, you need to follow this checklist. This is going to make it easier for you. It's going to make it more efficient for everybody. We're going to have more consistency. Really explain the why behind why you're systemizing it versus just, hey, we're going to do this to micromanage you. No, we're doing this to help you. And then the next stage, right, the next stage then is the set a target. Say, team, it's going to take a while for you to get used to the system, so we're going to give you 2 weeks to get used to the system and for us to get used to it. But after that point in time, it's green light go. And here are the things that are going to happen from an accountability perspective if you don't follow the system. So now what's happening, Anthony, is we're addressing this from a leadership perspective. We're addressing this from a team perspective so that when that bad apple gets pulled aside or gets let go, everybody's on the same page to go, hey, we all knew what the consequences were in not following this system. And that's how you want to go and address that, right? In a systemized way.
This way it doesn't look personal or anything. It's just, this is the way we go about doing our business, and that's what we got to do. Absolutely.
Aaron's got a question here that says, what are some of the key ways to evaluate a team member's efficiency? Okay, so Aaron, when it comes to efficiency, again, we've got to get laser focusing on efficiency of what? Okay, so again, we've got to do this one step at a time. So when we're looking at efficiency, say, for example, Aaron, your guys go and wire homes, okay? Then we want to break down the efficiency, just like, again, we didn't have time to cover this off, but I'll mention it. When your guys do or you do an estimate, you want to break it down in phases, okay? Rick says, yeah, thanks a ton. Yeah, no problem, Rick. So, you want to make sure you break it down in phases, okay? How long does it take the guys to install a 200 amp service? Okay, so this is how long it should take to install a 200 amp service. The ideal scenario is if you've got homes that are very similar or jobs that are very similar, that way the more that you can compare an apple to an apple, the easier it is for you to identify the efficiencies of your team. But again, coming back to it, you're going to pick the type of work, and then you're going to break that work down into different phases. How long it takes them to do the service, which should correlate back to how it was estimated, okay? And then you can start looking at how long it takes each guy to do that similar task, and you're going to quickly see things pop in front of you that go, it's taking Johnny 30% more time than Fred, okay? Does that help answer your question? Hopefully it does. We can talk a little bit more about it if you want to book into one of those strategy sessions. But does that help answer your question, Aaron? Just type that in. Got it. I have a problem that I compare everything to my best guy. Yeah, you got to be careful about that, Aaron. You know what? If we all compared ourselves, again, me and my analogies, back in the day to, you know, Gretzky, you know, it's hard to build a team of Gretzkys, right? And if that's what the bar is, you know, set in such that it's very unattainable, you're never going to be able to achieve your goals. So you got to set a target, you got to set levels that are achievable, okay? And the other person that you don't want to use as an example for an absolute number is you, okay? The business owner tends to be a Gretzky, okay, when it comes to doing their trade. That's one of the main reasons they've thought about, hey, I should open up my own business. I can do this better than such and such, right? So you got to make sure that it's a reasonable number. That's why you don't want to just measure yourself or your top employee and use that as a gauge. You want to take a look at a broad stroke of how everybody else is performing and then pick sort of the top 70 to 80% performance level, and that should be the minimum bar. Hopefully that helps. Yeah, that makes sense. Me being a Gretzky and wanting all Crosbys. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you know what? It also makes it very tough for hiring, right? If the bar is set that all we're looking for is Gretzky's, man, you're going to have a hell of a time finding people that are going to meet your criteria, if you ever do. And there's another little conundrum with Gretzky's. Gretzky's tend to be, and it's not to say that you know you don't want Gretzky's, but you got to be careful with Gretzky's. If they're truly a Gretzky, they tend to be the highest person in the company that's going to go out and start their own business. So retention factors with Gretzky's can be a problem. You want to have good employees, and you want to have good employees across the board, maybe with a couple of peak performers so other people can learn from them. But you got to be careful that you don't get, you know, too many Gretzky's, because they can you know, hang that over your head and leverage it against you. So, all right. So I don't know if we have any other questions as far as today's call goes.
No, I think at this point, Andrew, what we'll do is we'll wrap it up. And
Yep.
I would like to thank everybody on your behalf, and Stacy, everyone who helped put this together, and you know, thank everyone who attended. Again, you know, to your point, Andrew, you know, it takes some cojones to you know, take that step forward. So I do encourage everyone to you know, sign up for that, to claim their spot for those 7 open spots to chat further, more in depth with Andrew. Of course, you can see him in Electrical Business Magazine. We also upload his columns and his videos to ebmag.com for even more advice. And you know, really hats off to all of you guys for attending. We will be sending a survey afterward just to get your thoughts on the presentation, and you know, also some other subjects that would be of interest to you. And again, do please visit profitforcontractors.com. Learn more about Andrew and learn more about the ways that, you know, he can help you take your business to the next level.